Welcome back to the Rookie Reset. Now, I know we were not here last week. It was my grandmother's birthday, so we had to celebrate. But we are back in the gym with the Rookie Reset. Now, I am Andrea Fitzgerald, and I'm going to be your host this evening. And you may be saying, what the heck is a Rookie Reset? Well, friends, it would be evenings just like this, except your girl would be stressed the hell out because I couldn't imagine my classroom, and quite frankly, I couldn't figure out this whole teaching thing. So, what we hope to do here on the Rookie Reset is to provide you with practical tools, tips, and strategies to keep you in the teaching game. I am the PD in your building, the professional learning that you need if you are a new teacher. So rock with me every Tuesday, 5:15 to 5:45. We in here somewhere around that time. I'm not going to say it's exactly 5:15, but it's somewhere in that range. I can be consistent with that. So today I want to talk about the key to being a great teacher. I think this is one of the most important skills that you want to have as a new teacher. Honestly, just to be great, really. And honestly, this is like life 101, I feel like. So maybe a few weeks ago, month or something like that, I was out of town for work, and I was talking to someone, and she said something. She was telling me, she said, something I notice in my role now, sometimes I notice some people, they consistently get skipped over for promotions. And one day I thought to myself, I said, well, let me explore and figure out why they're not getting the promotions. And you know what it came down to, y'all? She said they're not self-reflective. It wasn't that they weren't equipped. It wasn't that they did not have the skill set. It wasn't that they were not talented, but being self-reflective. Just being willing to learn and look within yourself and stuff like that. Like being willing to look in the mirror. And y'all, it's hard sometimes. I'm just gonna be honest. Like the defensive monster is real for me. Like I'm gonna be honest. I got an ego the size of California. So sometimes it's very challenging. But when I take that time, when I process, it's invaluable because that's where you can make changes and you can grow. Now, something I want to say as we think about being reflective, something I heard yesterday that really resonated with me is that being reflective starts with vulnerability, because oftentimes we can be so attached to our ego and our identity, and we don't want to admit that we're wrong. And guys, listen, I'm not saying this to judge. I have this quality sometimes. I'm just gonna be real with you. But being willing to, it starts with vulnerability, and vulnerability is acknowledging, hey, I'm wrong here. Hey, I actually don't know what I'm doing. Hey, I'm having some challenges here. Like something I had to come to terms with is like sometimes I'm inconsistent. I can be very unreliable at times. I overcommit. So owning that, it was challenging. It really was. But now that I'm aware of it, I can do something about it. And that's the beauty of being self-reflective. When you are aware, you can start making changes. And it's a process. I think that is something I continue to learn. When I was in Me University, I think that was a game changer for me. She said, you got to recognize you're going to mess up. Okay. Like this not when you're trying to do stuff to do, like you're going to mess this thing up. It's okay. So, yeah. So let's talk about being reflective, because I'm imagining if you're a teacher, more than likely you are reflective. And I know you see the handbag, but that's because I have my fur baby with me today. Nina, she's hanging out with me. Nina, you want to show yourself? Hey, everybody. Okay. Yeah. So she's hanging out with me today. She's getting into the Rookie Reset. She's giving y'all some tips and tools. Y'all better take a lesson from Nina. Okay. So yeah. So let's talk about some ways that we can be reflective. Now, one of the ways that you can be reflective is with your lessons. I think that's the really simple one. I often reflected on my lesson every single day. So this is what worked, this what didn't. And even every single school year, like every spring, I would look at what worked across the year and how I was going to make adjustments for next year. But I did that every single year. And honestly, that's a skill I think I acquired from basketball, because every summer we had to add something to our game. right? So taking the time to really reflect on like what worked, what didn't, where did I knock it out the park, what felt really good to me, what didn't, but just taking the time to lesson to lesson, day to day, just being reflective. This strategy worked with this kid, this one did not, but just taking time to reflect on what worked and what didn't in your lessons every single day, and even at the end of the school year, end of the week, it's always opportunities to reflect. Now the other way to be reflective is to continue to be a learner. It's okay. We don't have all the answers. None of us do, right? Like we don't have all the answers. That's okay. Because we're in a role where we teach people. So we constantly have to take a learner stance in terms of how we do things. So like in education, it's things I learn all the time. I went to a training maybe this summer with Chrissy Allison, and she was talking about instruction and the analogy of it being, if that's not tight, it'll be the hole in the boat that'll make everything else sink. I thought that was like amazing. It was a really tight analogy that really spoke to the importance of great instruction. But just keep learning. We're in a role where we're constantly teaching others, so that's one of the things that's very important. Like that's something I learned even when I went as a speaker, that you have to be constantly developing yourself. That's why now I stay in therapy consistently. Like I know at times before I would take time off and I gotta do my work, because it's always things that I need to learn. I promise I learn something every time I see my therapist. Because it holds a mirror to things that I need to work on, right? So just take that learner stance, continue to grow, continue to evolve, continue to learn new information to help you evolve as a teacher. I think the other one is being open to feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. It's how we grow, it's how we get better. But it is imperative to grow as a teacher. I think that was one of the things that really helped me succeed as a teacher, and even as a basketball player too, is that I took in everything. If somebody gave me a recommendation, I would try it. I remember one time it was a teacher, he wasn't the best, but I took his feedback and I tried it and I said, oh no, I don't like this. But I had to try it to figure out if it worked or not. So I think just being open to know, like if we go back to learning, you don't know it all, but being open to receiving feedback and even sometimes criticism. Now, I do believe it's important to help people deliver it. I do think that's important. And most times if it's a coach, they're going to deliver it in a very diplomatic way. But just be open. It's always something you can learn. Even from, like, I learned something from a teacher that wasn't that great. I tried, it didn't work for me. But I think that my mentors, because I was open to the feedback they constantly gave me, that really helped me become a much better teacher. And then I think the last one is process and apply. So just taking time to like really think about what's working and what's not, I think is really important. Like as I told you before, like just I think sometimes like going through the process helps you better understand it. But once you get that feedback, think through it, what works for you, what doesn't, and apply it. And you'll figure out what works for you and what doesn't. But I think that has been really helpful. Just taking the time to like really think through things has really helps you get in that reflective mode. I know that I was talking to Ms. Holmes recently, and she said that when she was a teacher, she jotted down notes every day. Like she processed her day. Like she went through and said, okay, this work didn't, but that's how she determined, what she would do for the next day, and she would apply for the very next lesson. So just take that time to process, think through it. I think that sometimes, like, even when now I know what I was saying, I lost my train of thought. But when I talk about process, I think that sometimes, like, even when you get feedback as a new teacher, sometimes I've seen where they're not as receptive to receiving information. Take space and really think through it. I heard the analogy, take the meat, leave the bones, but take what works, take what information you think will be helpful for you, and leave the other stuff on the table. But take time to really think about it, because it could be stuff to help you. Like, I think that's something that I that I think about a lot. Like, sometimes I'm not receptive in the moment to feedback, but I always take time to process it and figure out what makes sense and what doesn't, or what lands and what doesn't. Where do I see a place for me to grow? Where do I see things that I could do better? Where do I see that, okay, I'm doing this well? What's mine? What's yours? Like, but it really is invaluable. And I think a lot of times you figure out what works for you and what doesn't by the application of it all. Like, I think that I've learned that even in business. Like, I thought through, I processed forever, and I never took any action. And once I started taking action, this thing started taking off a little bit. So yeah, just take that time to process and apply. So y'all, the best teachers are reflective, y'all. That's the sauce right here. That's the sauce of being a great teacher. It ain't about being the most talented, y'all. I'm telling you, like, I'm not the most talented person. My whole life is a reflection of that. I'm not the most talented person, I promise you. But I'm willing to receive feedback to help me grow and help me evolve. You know, even if I don't like it, I will take it and process it. Think about it. What makes sense? What doesn't? So thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week between 5:15 and 5:45. We'll be here at the Rookie Reset to provide you with practical tools, tips, and strategies to help you stay in the game. And as you go this week, keep that rookie state of mind. Well, what's that, Fitz? Remember, the level up is in the losses. Problems are a privilege. And yes, you might be new to this, but I know you're true to this because you're in this moment right now. I believe in each one of you. Let's get out there this week and let's do those rookie reset push-ups, y'all. I believe in y'all. And I'm out.